guys? We're back for another exciting episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And I get pumped for guests on this show, but tonight I am stoked because we've got a guy that, well, one, he's on an island somewhere far over there in the middle of the ocean, but two, he's a good personal friend of mine. And I've known this guy for a long time, and I've got a couple of personal things that are associated with this that is partly why we got him on the show, because we wanted to promote something happening at his golf course in Bermuda. Yeah, I said it, Bermuda. He's, like I said, in the middle of the ocean. But tonight's episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is going to be a hoot. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We have Paul Adams with us. He's from Turtle Hill Golf Club at Fairmont Southampton in Bermuda. And it's going to be, I've got like 30 questions to ask you. So I could explain what you do as the director of golf there, but I'm just going to give you a second to say hello, introduce yourself, tell us what you do. And Paul, welcome to the hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
Well, thank you for having me. So shall I just go ahead and say what I do at my golf?
Yeah, give us the elevator pitch. What do you do? What's your day-to-day?
Okay, well, everything on we're a golf course at Fairmont Southampton Hotel, and everything on the other side of the road, I get to make sure is run in a nice, smooth way. So I manage the golf course, the superintendent, and the golf operation as a whole. So golf carts, golf shop. It's kind of almost my dream job, in that I've always wanted to kind of manage a golf operation, and also the fact that it's so varied. I'm talking to the superintendent one minute, to accounting the next, to ordering merchandise for the golf shop. So and now really lots of fun running the Grey Goose World Par 3 Championship.
Well, that's going to be a big topic of what we talk about tonight, because that event is incredible, and I am so excited for that event, to see it, and have seen it over the years. And I mean, it's a par 3 course, right? And it's one of the most, if not the best and highest rated par 3 course on the planet. And I've seen pictures of this place. It looks surreal. But we're going to talk about all of that tonight. And I'm curious, because your role as director of golf, but it sounds like you're a general manager. Like, so do you have a general manager at the club, or do you have the role of general manager? Is that kind of how it works at that property?
Yeah, I mean, there's a hotel manager, and there's a general manager of the property. So yeah, but I get to run most of it.
That's awesome. Well, I know that JC Wright over at he's in Phoenix at Lookout Mountain Golf Club. He's the director of golf, but he serves as the general manager, kind of. So like when you're saying you're overseeing the operations, and you're overseeing the golf shop and all of the things that go along, the golf carts, etc. So it feels like, just based on what you were saying, that's kind of a GM role, but different clubs have different titles for that. So now, what was your journey like getting to where you are today? I mean, you said that sounds like a pretty good job. That's like a good job anywhere, let alone in Bermuda on an island where you've got the ocean surrounding you. So what was your journey like getting from where you were as a PGA professional, getting to where you are now today?
Well, originally I'm from the UK. So I was a golf pro in the UK, working at different golf clubs. I worked at a golf course in central London. So literally, it was the closest place if you wanted to hit golf balls and see where they went. This was the closest to the central London by a good 10 miles. Literally, there was nowhere to play golf or hit balls from. So I had the very luxurious situation where, hey, if you want a golf lesson and you want to see where the golf ball goes, and then you want to play on a golf course afterwards, that was the place to go and the only place to go. So it was a driving range, and people used to queue up. In the heyday of golf, I mean, they'd buy their bucket of golf balls, and they'd have to wait behind the bay for the person that was waiting behind the bay to hit so they could then go and hit balls. So it'd be like an hour wait on a weekend to be able to hit golf balls.
Sounds like Top Golf.
It's a bit like Top. It was yeah, but people just used to love it, and they would queue up, and you know, my lesson book would be full from 8 in the morning till 10 at night some days, and then some days without even a gap. So I'd be teaching for 11, 12 hours a day, which can be hard work.
That's crazy. Well, good for you for having, and I bet that teaches you a lot about, you know, the operations and to get you to where you are today. Now, are you doing a lot of lessons in your current role? And if not, do you miss that? Kind of what's your lessons process look like?
So lessons are less now because I have a full-time role. So the lessons now would be more of a part-time situation. We didn't really have anywhere to give lessons apart from down the side of one of the fairways. As you'll see when you get here, I've now created a small practice area. So it's 4 nets, a green, and a bunker. So that area now allows me to have somewhere to coach, and it's actually works really well because I have it behind a row of trees. So Bermuda, like Florida, gets really warm in the summer, and because you can hit these balls in a net behind some trees, it's actually really cool. And I kind of knew it was going to be a good spot to put some nets, but it worked out so well this last summer. Create coaching programs to suit where you're at. So the program I created was I call it a mini golf school, which sometimes gets confused because they think it's mini golf, but it's a golf school, but it's an abbreviated version of it. And if anyone can come up with a better idea than mini golf school, I'd be interested in what that name would be.
Well, I like the word mini because we have a miniature dachshund, and we call him Mini Ween because he's a wiener dog. And whenever I was in the corporate office, when Auction Southern Dunes introduced their short course on the floor of their driving range, I said, "Hey, let's call it #Mini Dunes because it's Auction Southern Dunes small course," and that stuck. So they used it. So I think mini golf school works. That's fine. Just I'll know better, and most people should. And if they get there with the putter in their hands, sorry, that's not what we were talking about.
I had one lady that she was concerned about it, but everyone else seems to have got it. So that's as long as 9 out of 10 people get it, you must be on the right angle.
Hey, 80-20, 80-20.
So I do a 2-hour session, and I take them from 0 to being able to actually play on the golf course and play a hole or two. So it's a really nice experience for someone that's a little nervous of playing golf, or it's their first time. We can literally teach them all the key skills, give them their swing, do a little chipping, a little putting, and then play a hole. And that's worked out really, really well. And it gets people over that hump of being able to get out on a golf course, and the golf course we're at is ideally suited to it.
That's awesome.
Just one other point you said it's a par 3 course. I try and say, well, hang on, it's a great golf course. It just so happens all the holes are par 3s.
Well, and to that point though, like I played a par 3 course growing up that had par 4s on it, and it had like 14 par 3s, right? And that's the vernacular, right? Like people say that, but I like. And based on what I've seen, the photos that I've seen, the awards this course has won, the event that it holds, like calling it a par 3 course doesn't really do it justice. I mean, that's not fair, quite frankly, to even the fact that you've got a golf school there. And it's more than just, a pitch and putt. Like that's what your mind goes to when you say par 3 course. So I'm going to work on changing that. It's not a par 3 course. It's a golf course that just happens to have a lot of par 3s. I like that. Now you mentioned that I'll be there. What you're talking about there is I'm actually going to be there in Bermuda for the first time after you have been inviting me for like 5 years. I'm going to Bermuda in the end of February, 1st of March, and I'll be playing in the Grey Goose World Par 3 Championship. So I'm unbelievably excited about this. I've never been to Bermuda. I haven't seen you since you were in Scottsdale. I mean, that's been probably a year and a half, 2 years ago since I saw you in Scottsdale. And it's going to be exciting to one, get there and just kind of embrace the entire experience. But, you've got a lot of things planned, whether it's playing Mid-Ocean Club or driving around the island. I'm a certified scuba diver, and I don't think I have time to go diving, but I'm going to think about it when I drive by the beach. But I'm excited that I'm going to be playing, and that's why I wanted you to come on the show before the event, because I wanted to give you an opportunity to promote both what your role is at Turtle Hill and to promote the Grey Goose Par 3. So some of the questions coming up are going to be about that, and it's really exciting to, one, it's good to see you again, and two, to be able to know that I'm going to be seeing you and sharing some time with you here in just a few short weeks. So now Turtle Hill is one of the golf courses on the island. There's a bunch more. You've got a Troom property on the island. You got Mid-Ocean Club. It's a top 100 club. Out of all of those facilities, besides yours, what's your favorite to play?
They kind of all offer something a little different, which is kind of one of the great things about it. So you're not, you can't say, well, one is better than the other. they're going to offer different elements. So if you look at Port Royal, which is fairly close to Fairmont Southampton, where I play now, because where I work at Fairmont Southampton, I probably play there more than anywhere else, apart from my home course. It's probably the most challenging golf course. It's the longest course by a little bit, and kind of offers kind of a more of a you have to hit it longer and straighter there. So it's a longer driving course, and the greens are maybe just a little flatter, and there's not a little bit less strategy involved. Mid-Ocean, which is arguably the best golf course on the island, is a little shorter. Then there's more dog legs, a lot more blind holes. This is which then infuriates some people, but that's how Charles Blair McDonald liked it. He wanted people to be surprised by the way what was going on with the where the land went, etc., etc. So they're offered different things, and then there's Belmont and the Ocean View.
That's awesome. Well, I actually I feels like, based on what you've said about Mid-Ocean, it's a shot maker's course, right? It's not just ripping driver off of every tee and just hit it, go find it, and hit it again. There's some strategy to that, and I like that in a golf course. I like being able to think about where I'm going, and as long as there's GPS or I get some local knowledge from someone in my group, I think that I'll be okay at Mid-Ocean Club. Now, I'm not expecting to go out and shoot like 75 or anything. I'd be excited to break 100 because I've not seen it. And the wind, I've heard the wind is pretty aggressive in Bermuda. Is it like a daily thing? Because that's what I feel like Florida is. Like Southwest Florida, it's windy every day. Is that what it's like in Bermuda?
I think we probably get occasionally windier than you do. This last few weeks has been pretty relaxed and not too much wind. 1 year in the Grey Goose tournament on the because we reversed the 9, so number 10, it's 140 yards downhill. So without any wind, you could probably get there just about with a 9-iron.
Yeah,
if
you
hit it good. And if it was downwind, players hit wedges into it. It was playing into the teeth of about a 40 or 50 mile an hour wind. This guy hits 3-wood off the tee, and everyone's going, "Oh, that could be too much." And then we watch it go up in the air, and we go, "That's a good shot. That's good. Oh, I hope it doesn't go over." And it landed 50 yards short. And everyone's gone, "Oh, really?"
Oh my God! So start working on my punch shots. Is what you're saying? I should start working on keeping the ball
with negative loft.
My gosh! So who is eligible to play in this tournament, and where can people that are watching at home go learn more about this event?
Got a Facebook page, an Instagram page. So the Facebook page is Grey Goose World Par 3. Instagram is #World Par 3. Or you can go to Fairmont.com and go to Southampton in Bermuda, and then there's information from that. Really, the tournament is a highly unusual tournament, probably unknown, in that we are allowing all players to play, but you just have to be over 21 because of the sponsor, Grey Goose Vodka. So if you're over 21, you can play. So last year we had Trish Johnson, who was on the Ladies European Tour, I think still is on the Ladies European Tour, and she competed, and she was leading up to the last 9 holes, and then she just dropped it back just very slightly. Last year we also had Chip Beck playing as well, and again he was doing really well. And then Barry Lane. So Chip Beck's 60 years old, Barry Lane's mid-50s. We've got a lady pro that nearly won. Because it's not the longest, it's a par 3 course and still very challenging, but it means everyone can compete on the same level. So that's what makes it unique and lots of fun.
Well, I'm glad I have a good short game, because the way that I was playing on Sunday, I was playing army golf, so I was missing right, left, and right. So I'm glad that it's not going to be hitting. Well, I might be hitting driver, it sounds like, on a couple of these holes, depending on the wind. So what are the distances of these holes? Like, what's the shortest hole? What's the longest hole? Kind of what's the average yardage? Like, I've looked at the scorecard a little bit that you sent over, but what's the longest, shortest, and kind of the average distance of these holes?
The longest hole, or the hole that plays the longest, is actually the course, and I'll talk about it as the course rather than, as I said, we reverse the 9s. So the 4th hole is very much uphill, Rory McIlroy, when he comes to play, he said, "Hey, I had to hit a 6-iron, and I had to hit that 6-iron really well." So I think Rory hits his 6-iron like 210, 220. So you can see how long that hole is, and the vast majority of people, it's like a 3-wood, but it's really uphill, so it's really difficult to get the carry up onto the green. Then the shortest hole is the 11th hole, which is a little downhill, and normally plays about 110, a little downhill, so it's playing to the kind of 100-yard mark, and sometimes it can be sneaky downwind, and there's some really long grass so it's the classic hole which you're going along, you're really confident, you're going right at the flag, and then you hit it over the back of the green and it kills your score.
Okay, so be short on that hole. Got it. So Charlie Reimer is kind of the voice of this event this year. Have you met him in the past? Do you know him personally, or is this the first time he's been involved with this event? Kind of what's that look like?
He's been with us for, I think, 6-7 years
Oh, no
now.
kidding. That's cool.
So he's been doing it a long time. And now he started his Champions Tour career. And I got a little excited. In his first round, he was 2 under par after 4 holes. I'm thinking, go Charlie. And then he came second last, I think, in the tournament. So it went downhill a little bit.
Hey, at least he finished, because I've seen Tiger Woods finish in dead last place, and I don't want to talk about that because I'm Tiger's biggest fan. But now I'm excited to meet him. That'll be fun to be able to see him. And I mean, he's obviously there all week. So does he play in the event too, or is he just?
Oh, very much. Yeah, he plays in it, and it's he says it's his favorite week of the year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he really enjoys it, and he can break 70 on this course.
That's funny. Well, maybe if I play my cards right, I can get him on this show later this season to talk about his experience after.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'd love to do that.
That'd be awesome to have him come on the show. I've not met him before, like I said, but I've seen a lot from him, and seems like a really nice, down-to-earth guy that kind of just one of the good guys, right? And that's exciting.
Absolutely.
So the course, what's it cost to play if somebody wants to play, let's say next Tuesday, and do hotel guests get a preferred rate?
So the rack rate from in the winter is $89, including the car. And then from April 1, it's $99. And then I've tried to create an interesting pricing strategy in that we used to have a twilight tee time that used to start kind of at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it then meant people then wouldn't play till 3 o'clock. So we'd be quite busy in the morning, then nothing kind of between 12 and 3, and then busy again at 3 o'clock. Well, I kind of figured, well, what's the point of doing that? So we then drop the price at 12 and say, hey, if you want to play from 12 o'clock onwards, we'll drop the price down to $69, and you can play at any time. And then it kept the number of people playing fairly even, and we didn't end up with a compression at 3:30 or whatever time we did the twilight time. And that seemed to work quite well in 2017, and it'll be interesting to see how it works in 2018.
I've seen this strategy, this pricing. I mean, obviously dynamic pricing, which is not a new concept. It's new to the world of golf, but it's the hotel pricing model, the airline pricing model, where the further in advance you book and the less busy the golf course is, the lower rate you're going to get, right? Like that makes sense. If I'm playing on Saturday morning at 8 a.m., I should expect to pay more than if I'm playing on Tuesday at noon. So that in mind, what's your thought process on the new strategy of, you pay for what you play? So let's say you want to play 6 holes, you want to play 3 holes. I mean, is that a strategy you've considered? And especially on a course like yours, being a resort course right there at the hotel, would that be a strategy that might make sense for your property?
Well, so what we said, following on from that, is that at 12 o'clock it goes down to $69, and that's the discounted afternoon rate. So you play as many holes as you want. You go out there and enjoy it. And if you want to play 9 or 18, it's the same price, because it's still, a lot of people rent clubs with us as well. So we still have the labor of setting up the golf car, setting up the clubs for them, and so we didn't, and we don't have, we never really run out of golf course. Okay. Whereas some places run out of golf course. And so, that works for them to be able to say, for instance, one of our sister properties, a Fairmont property, Banff Springs, they're busy all the way through till later on in the afternoon. but then might struggle to fill those later tee times. For them, that price model makes maybe sense to discount it and say, hang on, why don't you just play 9 holes or 5 holes, etc. But for us, it's better to say, and our golf course tends to encourage a lot of people that wouldn't ordinarily come play golf, and so to be able for them to know, well, hang on, yeah, I'll just play until I get tired, until I've had enough, and then there's no issue with it whatsoever. So different golf courses, I think, will need different models, and for us that seems to have worked really well, but models need to change sometimes, and who knows what we'll see when we analyze the figures after 2018.
So you keep saying golf carts. Now you obviously have golf carts, but is walking allowed, and do participants walk or ride in the World Par 3?
So in the tournament itself, we don't give people golf carts unless they're a senior, and then they require them, or if you had a medical condition that required that, and while it's exceptionally hilly and fairly challenging to walk, it isn't a full-size golf course, so you don't really need a cart as such. And the speed of play seems to be fairly fluid.
Now, Grey Goose, obviously, they're the sponsor of this event. They have been for many years. What's their involvement? Like, are they just their name and logos on it? Or are they there? Are they doing stuff, whether it's that, the opening night party, or do they have, beverages on the golf course? What's Grey Goose's involvement on a day-to-day basis for this event?
So Grey Goose is a Bacardi product, and Bacardi is based in Bermuda. So it's one of their family of products, and they've been helping out at different levels. Their help is more at the local level rather than their international level. So it's the local part that's helping out. The event on Friday night is based at the Bacardi building, which is one of the most beautiful buildings you'll ever go to. It's got the view of the Cuba skyline set in the roof of one of the hallways.
That's so cool.
So there's some really cool history associated with the company, and it's, as I said, it's a really classy, really cool building with some really nice fountains. So that's then their involvement, and then we'll have a signature cocktail, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. We've got loquats. I don't know if you have loquats in Florida, the little orange fruit.
Yes. I don't call them that though, unless I'm thinking of something different. Like we just have like a little, like they're like oranges, but they're tiny. If it's
when they're really ripe, they're orange.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's and they're originally from Japan, but I think then they came to Bermuda, and then from Bermuda they went to Florida. The house I rented at the PGA show had a loquat tree in the front of it.
That's awesome.
So they're going to but the loquats are growing down the sides of a lot of the roads. You'll see, and so there's going to be a signature loquat cocktail that we'll have as part of the event, which I'm sure you can try out and see how you like it.
Well, I haven't quite strategized what I'm going to do from a social media perspective, and I'm thinking, I mean, I'll be taking pictures by the time I even get up that morning to catch my flight, but I wonder if because I'm really trying to get into Instagram stories, and I haven't found kind of the need for them, and this might be an opportunity to kind of introduce that, but at the same time, I want to make sure I get as much content as I can. I'm thinking also maybe a live blog feed, because my blog is high traffic, of maybe, tracking like my day to day of what's going on. And I'm going to go all in with the social media aspect. So I'll be on my phone quite a bit. I'll say that. So if I'm on my phone, know that I'm posting and promoting the great island of Bermuda and this championship. And I will also say, unfortunately, you are not a member of the Top Button Club, but as you can see this evening, and I wore this just for you because I know you're not a member of the elusive Top Button Club, but I will.
Sure.
It's different with the dress shirt though, because the shirt you have on now, leave the top button undone unless you have a tie on. Yeah. Golf shirts though, if I got a golf shirt on, I'm gonna have my top button on. And I will. Quick story: I played really bad yesterday, to the point that I didn't quite finish my round, and I was venting to our first assistant golf professional, and he said, I have a secret for you. If you promise you'll do it, I'll tell you. And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, unbutton your top button. I'm like, I break promises because I ain't doing that. Like, that ain't happening. Like, you will never see this not buttoned. Like, if I unbutton it, I feel like I shouldn't even have a shirt on to begin with. Like, it's a thing. So now, I saw a video on your Facebook page. You guys experimented with foot golf a little bit. And I can see that being really popular where you guys are. So what did you do with that? Are you still doing that? And what kind of reception did you receive when you implemented that?
So I started it. It seemed I brought a guy in from California to set up the course, which was a really smart move. I didn't realize how smart until he got there, because I was going to just stick a flag at the front of the green and let them go have fun with it, because that's, you know, what I would have thought you'd want to do, keep people off the greens and they can just kick it and don't put many obstacles in. And he's gone, no, 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 you've got to design the golf course properly. So he spent 2 days solidly deciding where the flags would be, and we recontoured, well, not contoured, but recut the edges of the greens to fit those kind of foot golf greens to one side. Because we overseed it, it looks really cool. So he then spent 2 days doing that. Then we then sunk the holes in, and we set about, we just kind of opened it up, and we've kind of let it grow organically. We've done a number of fundraisers, and it seems to have gone quite well. We had 30 or 40 people play foot golf over the weekend, and for us, that's great revenue because it's incremental revenue. There's no real additional cost. There's, you know, I put a new flag every year on there, and so my foot golf cost is probably $50 a year, and I charge $50, including the golf cart, for people to go do foot golf.
Sounds like a pretty good ROI. That's
yes.
awesome.
Yes. And what happens? The market seems to be more. Well, there's two very successful groups that really enjoy foot golf. It's your younger guy, but not yet young, 25 to 30. It's his birthday party. Wants to invite his friends out to do something active. So we sell beer out of the golf shop. So they buy a few beers, they go and do some foot golf, and then we've actually turned the upstairs restaurant into a sports bar as well. So they really enjoy doing a bit of foot golf and then having a few beers. So it's more of a situation where it's a bit of entertainment to before they go out drinking. Kind
They
of
drink beer before they go out drinking.
yes.
I like that.
And then during, before and after.
Now, you mentioned beer. That strikes a chord with me. So you know I'm a big beer guy. Are there any beers that are local to Bermuda that I've never had that I'm going to be able to try while I'm there?
Yes, we have this lovely Mexican beer called Corona.
I've had that. Oh, I got all excited.
Oh no, we have the Bermudian brewery.
Oh, awesome! I have to go there.
And it's called On the Rock, I think it's called. And we actually on draft at the sports bar upstairs.
Awesome. That is. So, I might do that as soon as I land. Before I even tell you that I'm there, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to the brewery." Now, the hotel looks just incredible. I mean, obviously a Fairmont. I've been to a couple of Fairmonts. I was in Scotland late last year. Got the chance to see the Fairmont St. Andrews. The general manager there is a dear friend, and she's just an awesome lady. And she gave me the opportunity to tour the property, and I got to see both golf courses and everything they have going on there. I've been at a couple of other Fairmonts. I used to live by the Fairmont in Scottsdale, and this property obviously is just incredible. So talk a little bit more about the property. It takes up a lot of space for such a small island, but what the property is like, and what kind of amenities you offer to hotel guests, and kind of what's that look like?
So we have 6 tennis courts down at the beach. The beach restaurant isn't open at this time of year. It's been so good just recently, we could have had it open. So you've got the beach, the tennis courts. Then at the hotel, we've got different restaurant options. There's a coffee bar on the bottom, and then we have this big, huge spa. So it's a shame Cheryl couldn't make it. So she could have experienced the spa. And the spa's got an indoor pool and jacuzzi, and then we've got the best par 3 golf course in the world.
I mean, it's not that alone. Like, what amenities do we have? Best par 3 golf course in the world. Any questions? Like, let's just right there. Like, you don't need a spa. You don't need tennis courts. That's really cool. Now, on the golf course itself, how many holes can you see the ocean?
One hole you can't see the ocean from, and that has a really cool water hazard, which we've shaved the bank. So that's a really I had this vision of trying to make the golf course more like Augusta after I'd been to Augusta a couple of times.
Rub it in. I haven't been yet. Rub it in.
You haven't been yet? Oh, you need to go.
I need
you
to go
don't need to
before
go.
Tiger's done.
No, yeah. Well, next time Tiger wins, you can go.
It
could be soon.
Very, very well may be this year. I'm just saying it could very. I think he's playing to peak in April. I'm just going to leave it at that. We could spend an hour talking about that.
As long as he doesn't hit the flip and go back in the water hazard, he'll be fine.
He hit 17 fairways 2 weeks ago. Think about that. 17 fairways in 4 rounds of golf.
Oh, in 4 rounds. Okay.
That's
rather than 7.
Yeah, he didn't hit 17 greens, that's for sure. Before we started this, I didn't tell you that the half an hour would fly by, and we're literally out of time. But I'm not done yet. I got one more question, and then we're going to jump to the back nine. And I'm very excited to be coming to this event, and it's going to be it's almost, again, it's surreal that I'm getting the chance to come to the island and see it firsthand. I'll be there Tuesday through Sunday, and on the fact that you got a brewery. I mean, how have I not looked that up? Like, how do I not know that? But so the golf course, I'm so excited to see the golf course and the layout. Like you talked about the water hazards and one hole being straight uphill. Who designed the course, and kind of what are some of the signature holes, and what should I be looking for in those holes that I'm going to want to take my picture on?
So it wasn't designed by a named designer like Mid-Ocean was a Charles Blair McDonald. Port Royal was a Trent Jones design. But in 1972, when it was built, it really was built kind of with it as a premier golf course. So they put the latest Bermuda grass on it, and it really was designed very carefully. So there's lots of design features, and I've tried to get those in the 3 years I've been there to kind of reveal them. So we talked about the hole that was very uphill. We revealed the false front, so that there are actually stories of people putting off the green and rolling down the hill 40 yards back, and then chipping back up and then putting back off the green. So that's the fourth hole. And then the sixth hole, we put a new tee box to give you a better view of where the water hazard is on that hole. So it's just a really nicely designed golf course. Being a par 3 course, it doesn't have a huge amount of strategy to it, because it's not like you're going to aim there to get it to go there for your next shot. But certainly there's spots where it's saying, as I said, on the hole the only hole where you can't see the ocean, although you can if you're standing on the green. So maybe pretty much every hole there isn't a hole you can't see the ocean.
That's awesome.
I take it all back now.
That should be the tagline. There isn't a hole you can't see the ocean. That's incredible.
Yes.
Now the green speeds, are the greens fast, and do they hold? That's my big thing, because right now at Tiburon, the greens are so new that it's tough to get a ball to hold.
Yeah, no, our greens are we're built on sand, so it's got that perfect combination of really beautifully draining soil, but fairly receptive greens. The greens at the moment are perfection. The golf course it's like literally being at Augusta at the moment. It really is. We had a local tournament on the golf course, and people have gone, wow, that was amazing. We're easily the best conditioned golf course on the island at the moment, which is
Stay
cool.
that way.
Yes, and we'll do. It'll get even better. We have to be a little bit careful with the green speeds because of the wind. So we could push them and get them to 12 or 13, but we'd have to be careful, because if it gets windy, then you'd struggle to keep the ball on the green. So if we get a forecast without too much wind, we'll push the greens. And if we've got a bit of wind going, we'll have to be conservative, and they'll just have to be 11 on the
So what's
slim.
the weather going to be like that week? Like typically, like is it going to be
Um,
cold? The first person I told that I was going when I was going, they're like, "Oh, you're going to take a jacket. It's freezing that time of year." And I'm like,
oh no, I was in shorts and a shirt say yesterday. I was
"Okay,
sweating.
good. Okay,
And
good."
the air conditioning's out in the golf shop, and I'm going, oh, this is hot in here. So it's it's hot. Today it was, but it can get cool. But I always say the story of people. What is it? When do I sell my most pairs of shorts? In January and February, when people come down assuming it's going to be cool, the sun comes out and they go, "Hey, I need to buy a pair of shorts," and I'll sell on a nice weekend when it's warm. In January and February, I'll sell a dozen, 20 pairs of shorts because people aren't expecting the warmth.
Well, I will
Whereas
tell you, I left my office today to go to the bank, and it was 95 when I got in my car. So,
oh,
yeah, that's winter here
well,
in Southwest Florida. Well, hey, Paul, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome. It's so fun just seeing you and getting to learn more about the property, and I can't wait to see it. I'm going to be just walking around taking every single thing in while I'm there on the island. But before I let you go this evening, we have this segment called the Back Nine. It's just 9 fun, random golf questions. Well, not all golf because like 3 of them aren't golf. But are you ready for your Back Nine?
I'm ready.
What is your favorite restaurant on the island? There's a lot of them, I'm sure, but what's your favorite?
Hands down, the water lot, which is where we'll try and hang out there. It's the best you'll ever go to in your whole life.
Well, then that's where we need to have dinner on Tuesday. Then that right there, like that, I might have been a trick question just to get you to tell me so we could go there for dinner. I assume you have a bunch, but how many hole-in-ones do you have?
I only had one 25 years ago.
Are you serious? Only one?
And last Thursday, I hit it to like a millimeter. Still won the skin, so I was happy.
That's awesome. What's your favorite golf movie?
Golf movie. I think probably the opposite. I hate the ones where it's every stupid story comes out in it. So it's those kind of those where it's just what's going to happen next. I don't think there are any really good golf movies, in fairness, apart from obviously the obvious one.
Well, Caddyshack is obviously a popular choice. Happy Gilmore. I really liked Tommy's Honor, and I liked it because I was going to St. Andrews, and I watched it right before I went, and it was a really, really well done movie, and it was even better knowing that the majority, if not all of that movie, was not even filmed at the old course. They did it down the street, basically. So it was really interesting to see, and from a historical perspective. But hasn't been recently in the last 10, 15 years a good story, a good golf story. And you would think with a game that has so much history that there would be just somebody like, I say like a Spielberg or whatever, like will grab it and just make an epic golf film, but it hasn't happened yet. So maybe one day. What golf ball are you currently playing?
Pro V1X. But I've now currently run out of golf balls, so it's whatever I find.
Now, should I expect to lose a lot of golf balls on this golf course? I mean, I'll pack accordingly, like 24 or more. But should I be okay?
You shouldn't do, but it's like playing, like gambling. I mean, you can go rounds and you'll not lose a golf ball, and then you'll lose 6 in 2 holes.
I lost 3 yesterday in 5 holes. So, 5 holes in a tee shot. Now, obviously, you're originally from the UK. There are a lot of pubs in London. I've been to London time and time again. I'm going again in a few months. What is your single favorite pub in London?
Single best. I think they've all closed down now. I think they've literally all closed down. I mean, all the pubs now, they close them down and turn them into condos. So there aren't any good ones left.
There are some good ones. The Ye Old Cheshire Cheese Shop is good, and
Old. I used to live in Richmond on Thames, and just by the river there's like 3 or 4 great pubs that you can go to and hang out there. But I mean, I've not really been out in London for a long time now, so I'm a bit out of touch. I can tell you I'll tell you to all the good ones in Bermuda.
Okay, do that. Yeah, that's the next stop. Now, speaking of pubs, let's have a drink. I was drinking rum, not Bacardi. Unfortunately, I don't have any Bacardi, but I was drinking a spice rum that was really good. Beer, wine, whiskey, rum. What's your drink of choice?
All the above. Obviously, Grey Goose is the one to be drinking now. Uh, I like white wine and red wine, but Grey Goose now is the drink of choice.
Awesome. Now, every tourist stop, there are destinations that you have to see, these tourist traps, the must see, must go, must do. What is the biggest and most overrated tourist trap in Bermuda?
Overrated. There's nothing overrated. Everything's pretty good in Bermuda, really. You just have to understand it's on a slightly smaller scale than anything else. So we have an aquarium and zoo, and it's not got that many exhibits because it's a Bermuda, right? It's not that big, but it's still really cool. So there's nothing in Bermuda is overrated, but you just have to understand it's on a slightly smaller scale.
I dig that. Now, maybe the most important question of the evening, and be very careful how you answer this. Do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
So I think, first of all, I've got to say how impressed I am with Tiger Woods and how strong he is now.
Crazy.
Like, how on earth has he managed to get stronger than he's ever been before now? And I to kind of sidebar the Greg Rose of TPI went to his seminar at the PGA show, and he's gone, there's only one thing that's really important if you want to be on the PGA Tour. That's power. You need to hit a long way. I'm kind of really impressed that he's gone down that route of really just focusing on just hitting as far as he possibly can, because that's what his edge always was, and he needs to do that. Otherwise, you're just never going to be anywhere near the top. So, yeah, wouldn't it be wonderful? And I'd really love to see him become a dominant force again. I just think there's so many other guys out there that just aren't scared of him anymore. That's the reason why he's not going to do it. Not because he doesn't have the talent or the ability. It's just the fact there's a dozen other guys there. I mean, how can Rory McIlroy, isn't it? I don't think he's even quite in the top 10. I mean, and you think, but there's 10 guys better than Rory McIlroy out there. So,
but at the same time, if Tiger's standing next to Rory or Jordan or Dustin on Sunday at Augusta on the first tee, tied for the lead, they're not scared of him. But there's no question that those guys would be like, I'm playing for second because I'm playing with Tiger. And I look at the stat, and this stat boggles my mind. Tiger's 42 and has missed 17 cuts in his career. Jordan is 23 and has missed 18 cuts. Now, granted, Jordan plays a lot more than Tiger ever did, but the difference there is absurd. That the consistency and the number of cuts that Tiger missed in the last 36 months has been more than he ever missed in his career combined. And I can't think that he's done, and I think that he's honestly setting himself up for the single biggest comeback in professional sports. If he can get back and give him 5 years playing healthy, I honestly think that he can break it. So that's good insight, though. And the number of there's 110 guys that could beat him, can beat anybody on any given week. So I think that that's a good thought process of what if he doesn't, why he doesn't. And I honestly think that those 110 guys that could compete with him, he made them better to where they could compete with him. That it was partly his fault that they're as good as they are.
Yes. But Andre Agassi did it, didn't he? He came back. So there's a lot of history of people coming back for the second half of their career and coming back stronger than they've ever done before. And as you say, if you're paired with Tiger Woods in the Masters, it's going to be really tough to beat Tiger Woods. Problem is, there's 3 other groups you could be up in, and they're not going to be scared of him. Pebble was an example of that this week, wasn't it? The guy's not scared of winning. No one's scared of winning anymore.
I think that it could be, and Chip Essig was on this show a handful of months ago, and I asked everybody that question, and he said that if Tiger wins one more, he breaks the record. That if he wins one more major, that'll be the inspiration he needs to light the fire. And think about this. Tiger has won on tour since Phil Mickelson has won on tour. That's another cool stat. I mean, he's in his mid-40s now. And I think that it could be really cool if he could win just one this year. Like how neat that would be. But they just announced that St. Andrews is going to host the 150th Open Championship. Wouldn't that be a place that he could win hitting 3-iron off the tee? If he could win the 150th Open Championship to be the tournament that broke the record, how good would that be? Like, that would be
amazing.
That would. I think that if he wins another tournament, he breaks the internet. But that could just break everything. I mean, that could just be unbelievable. He makes that putt on 18, and oh man, crazy. And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next? I mean, you got the Grey Goose Par 3 coming up, but what's next for you in your career?
Well, we've still got a few other things to do at Fairmont. Have you heard of Fling Golf?
Oh yes.
So we got Fling Golf sticks. I'd like to make foot golf. We've been in discussion to try and maybe get a World Foot Golf Championships
Cool.
going. I've got to do the other 9 holes with foot golf, with the foot golf holes to it. So I've got a bunch more stuff still to do at Fairmont Southampton, and I always keep finding cool things to buy in the golf shop and cool teaching aids, etc. So I'd like to do a bit more coaching once the Grey Goose is done. I've got the new Blast Golf thing. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Ricky.
Yes.
And I'm excited to just try that with my own game and get my tempo going. So yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff still to go on.
That's awesome. Well, you are always a busy person. It's always good to follow along and to see what you're doing on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And you got a lot of things moving. I cannot wait to get to Bermuda. It's only a few weeks now. I got to go to Savannah first for a work thing, but then I'm headed to the island, and I am pumped to just experience everything, including the golf course, and to be able to just hang out with you for a few days and to experience that whole thing. So I know that the tourism bureau there in Bermuda does a great job promoting everything going on there, and I've been trying to connect with them to also help promote both the island itself, not just this event and the golf tournament. So it's very exciting to have that all kind of culminate. I'm glad that we were able to get you on this show before that, and like I said, any chance we can have to have anybody, whether it's Charlie or maybe your superintendent or whoever, I'm always happy to have you and anybody else back on this show to promote anything happening at Turtle Hill Golf Club. And this episode is going to be on YouTube, it's going to be on iTunes, it's going to be on Google Play, it'll be on SoundCloud, it's going to be all over the place. So any chance that you want to be able to see this or listen to this, please check it out. If you haven't subscribed yet to the YouTube channel, do that down below. Would love to have your support of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And as always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.